Hi, Bassam.
Hi. Hi, Marjan. How are you doing?
Good. We finally made it.
Finally. Yay.
Yeah. Okay. Where do we start?
I suppose at the beginning.
Well, at the beginning, but the thing is, I have to tell them a little bit about our history
Go
together.
For it.
You remember when? No, you were there when I got married. I think you were a year or 2 years old. We were neighbors.
No memories.
No, you don't have any memories. Yeah, me and your mom, Nawaf, your brother.
Right.
When your mom was pregnant with Nawaf, I was pregnant with Noor. Yeah, so we had that journey together.
I love that.
Yeah.
And they're friends, so that worked.
And they're friends.
Yeah.
And then we got pregnant with my Nawaf and your Saud.
Was this planned in any way?
No.
Did you call each other up? Sync your calendars?
No, well, it wasn't planned at all. And they were all a month apart.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And by the way, I'll tell you a secret.
Sure.
My Nawaf was named Nawaf because Noor loved Nawaf, your Nawaf. So when she knew that there was a baby brother coming.
I love that.
Okay, first of all, she was angry because she said, I wanted a sister.
Right.
But okay, fine. Now that a brother...
I love she has an opinion, even at that age.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, she picked up her lunchbox and she said, I'm leaving house. I'm running
away
to my auntie's house because I don't have any sisters. I'm not going to have sisters.
That's cute.
Yeah. So anyway, Nawaf is on the way and it's a boy. So she said, okay, fine. Even though it's a baby brother, but you have to call him Nawaf.
And you did.
And we did.
I'll
persuasive she is.
Well, I'll tell our Nawaf that story. I think he'll appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we go back a long way.
We do.
You all grew up together and all that, and I'm very proud of all of you now.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
So I brought you in here because of what you're accomplishing these days.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. It looks amazing.
I hope so.
Yes, it is. But we want to hear your story. Start with school.
All right.
And then we'll go into college and then we'll take it from there.
Sure.
So how was your high school? What happened in high school? What made you go to where you studied what you studied
How
in college?
open can I be about that? Can I be as open as possible?
You can be as open as possible as long
but
as...
not rude.
Yes.
Understood.
Okay.
So basically, I actually went to the same high school as both Nawaf and Noor.
Nawaf and Nuruddin.
And Nuruddin, exactly.
There's a Nuruddin in the middle, but Okay.
I like Nuruddin. And basically it was the Bahrain Bayan school.
Right.
It was before it became the school that it is now. It's very competitive now. Okay. It's very difficult to get in.
Yeah.
When we were in school, I remember we experienced a lot of diversity.
Okay.
So we had people from all walks of life, all different types of backgrounds. Their parents would do different things in different countries as well.
Right.
So I love the fact that I grew up in a very relatively multicultural setting. And we shared stories. We were all friends. We would go to each other's houses. So that's something that appealed to me perhaps more than the actual studying, although I studied and I did excel.
Okay.
And I wanted to go into medicine. I didn't.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So it was medicine first.
Medicine first.
Okay.
And sometimes medicine still.
Okay. Oh, no.
Yeah,
way.
sometimes. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Why medicine?
I'm fascinated by how things work. So the human body is the most sophisticated machine ever. And what better privilege than to have the knowledge necessary and the capacity to help fix it when things go wrong or to prevent things from going wrong.
Nicely put.
Thank you. So
what happened? Why you didn't get into medicine?
This is what's interesting.
Okay.
I suppose some external influences at the time, the socioeconomic culture of Bahrain was geared more towards the financial sector. Okay. Everybody was doing banking. It was very fashionable. I think you remember. It was almost a fashion statement.
We were always a financial hub
Absolutely.
in the region, and
but I think something happens generationally where you get an influx of bankers, an influx of engineers. And I remember from listening to your story as well on the podcast, how you were sort of geared towards a particular thing to study. I felt like the same. I won't say it was done to me because it's not a victim situation. Rather, I was steered in that direction. Okay. So I went into banking and finance. Completely not something that I enjoy, to be honest. Okay. But I did it.
So you did go and study.
I did. I went to the United States.
And you graduated.
And I graduated with a BA in finance and investment management and a minor in psychology.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So
what did the psychology have to do?
Well, because I transferred from a U.S. university. You have a major and you have a minor. Okay. So I carried forward my minors basically, and I didn't fulfill my credits for the major when I was in the United States. I enjoyed doing everything else: astronomy, cinema 101, 102, 103.
That's not finance.
That's not finance at all.
Okay, is it?
So I made a decision at the time. I was like, this is not working, I'm enjoying all this, but I feel like I'm here to do a job and I'm not doing it very well. So I decided to go to a UK university. The United Kingdom have a completely different system.
Yeah.
They give you everything that you need and then you just follow the curricula and you graduate.
Okay.
As opposed to the United States, where it's this large tree of 101s and running to sign up to a class at the beginning of semester and fighting each other in the hall.
And you don't want the 8 o'clock in the morning class. No. You want the midday or 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Exactly right.
I know.
And as you know as well, like we have to do general education requirements or general electives, right? And I enjoyed those.
Okay.
So I suppose I enjoyed the liberal arts section of my education more than I did the actual corporate finance and all of that. But I graduated from the United Kingdom and I came back to Bahrain.
Yeah.
And I worked.
But I still didn't get this. Why the psychology?
Why did I choose it?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I like to know how things work.
Okay.
And
how the mind works.
Well, how my mind works. I know it's very self-centered, but I wanted to know why I do certain things, what's happening there.
So you studied psychology to see how your mind works?
Exactly.
Not everybody else's?
Yep. Yeah.
Bassam, that's okay. That's interesting.
Perhaps a little self-centered as well.
No, that's fascinating.
I mean, it's
like self-development.
I suppose. Yeah. I was always interested in that. The things that I felt like enriched my soul.
Okay.
Finance was not one of them. Finance, the purpose of it is to
enrich your pocket.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Like for some people, that's brilliant.
Okay.
It wasn't for me. So at the chagrin of my dad, who is very much, very methodical. He's an architect, so he thinks in A, B, C, D terms.
Right.
Why I think in A, Z, Y, maybe some A, back to F.
Yeah.
So after coming to Bahrain and working at, what was termed one of the most prestigious consulting firms, Ernst & Young.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was educational, not the most enjoyable. Mm-hmm. But I was like, at one point, I'm done.
Okay.
Like 3 years in, I was like...
I was going to say, how long did it last?
3 years.
3 years.
I didn't have the stamina to do more than that.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm done. Okay. But I enjoyed, obviously, since college, the act of being self-sufficient, not taking handouts, I don't like asking for help. I want to do it on my own. Mm-hmm. Even if it means I have to adjust my lifestyle at times,
right.
I'd do that.
Okay.
So when I decided to leave Ernst & Young, there was an uproar. This is the worst decision ever. Okay. You're making a huge mistake. What are you going to do for the rest of your life? It was as if the choice was between Ernst & Young and starving, which is completely unrealistic.
Okay.
Right? And doesn't take into account the benefit of human creativity in the process. Your mind is going to work in a different way now. Yeah. Nobody told me that. I wish they did.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, that's a very long-winded answer to a short question.
No.
Should I continue?
Yeah, we want to know.
All right.
How you got to where you are today.
All right.
So it has to have a foundation, a path.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed.
Okay. So you decided to leave Ernst & Young.
Indeed.
Okay. What did you have in mind? Was there anything coming up, building any interests?
Well, I've always been fascinated by the culinary arts. It was part of my growing up. My mom worked at the French embassy, and she had an obsession with cookbooks.
Cooking,
which, all of my brothers would read when we were bored. Because my parents tried to, when we wanted to do something and there was no opportunity to go out or whatever, they're like, here, read this. Right?
What, a cookbook?
A cookbook, any book.
Oh, any
Go
book.
read a book.
Okay.
Right? You must read a book. Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So we had them everywhere. And there are some really big classics. Like she picked well.
Yeah.
Like I remember.
Oh, she's a good cook.
She is. And she's
an amazing cook.
Exactly.
I mean, we all know that. Yeah.
But I mean, it's very, like I remember reading Julia Child's copy when I was, 11? And who knew Julia Child in Bahrain? Nobody,
we
probably.
Didn't know.
Exactly. Or the Larousse Gastronomique, which is like a compendium of French cookery, for example. Like we had a very old copy of that. And it was something I was fascinated with. All my uncles cooked as well.
True. Yes.
And they cook well too.
Yeah.
And I think we all get it from my grandma. She was fantastic.
Okay. Yeah.
So I wanted to
from your mother's side.
From my mom's side.
Yeah.
So I remember that, having spent time at Ernst & Young and not using my hands to make things, just crunching numbers literally on a keyboard and counting other people's wealth, trying to get paperwork from people who denied that they had it, but they did have it. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the psychology of that involved, I was completely done with anything relating to admin, basically, and that kind of number crunching.
Yeah.
So I was like, I remember when I was in Ernst & Young, it's so funny because we were auditing a bank, and that bank overlooks the Bahrain National Museum.
Oh, okay.
Okay, where I'm based now.
Yeah.
And I remember at the time, my supervisor was in the office, and I looked up and I was like, you know what, I'm going to have a restaurant. It's so funny.
No way. And you were looking at the museum.
I was just looking at the museum. It wasn't like I wanted a restaurant there.
No, yeah.
But I'm going to have a restaurant. He actually laughed at me and was like, just do your work.
Okay.
Stop daydreaming. Come and do your work. So...
Tell me something. So when you were working at Ernst & Young, would you be doing cooking on the side, like as a hobby at home?
I did cooking throughout college.
Okay.
One of my favorite things to do was whenever I would live in any city, the first thing I would do is find the local market.
Okay.
So that I can make friends with all the vendors, the cheesemonger, the fishmonger, the butcher, the olive oil tradesman, everything. And I remember in the UK, I was living 2 minutes away from a market called Granger Market, which was notorious for bringing in fresh produce from, the Northern Sea.
Oh my God, I can imagine it. It's as if I'm in a movie. Is it okay?
Clearly, I was not there to be, sourcing ingredients from the market. I was there to study.
Yes, exactly.
But I think this is my coping mechanism.
Okay.
So I would... For example, if there was a new batch of salmon that came in, I would call up my friends and I'd be like, hey guys, I've made this.
We're having salmon
tonight in the French style or whatever. And they're like,
where was I when you were doing that? I
don't know, were you pursuing your PhD?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, there you go. So, all these elaborate dinners. And I remember that obviously students have a limited allowance.
Yep, obviously.
I'm trying to plan these elaborate meals on a budget. So, knowing market vendors was a great asset to that.
Yeah.
Because they would be like, okay, we got a sale on these russet potatoes. Come and have this Parmesan cheese that, we were trying to move or whatever.
Yeah.
So, sourcing became a habit. I want to use this salt. I want to use that fish. I want to use that chicken. I want to use this cheese. And it kind of built up. And to me, this was the norm.
Okay.
Right? To others, it was...
Let me ask you something. Sorry, in the middle here. So did any of the culture come in there, or was it cooking in general?
In terms of the culture where I was in?
No. Let's say, did the cooking had anything to do with food in Bahrain, or it was...
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I started with Bahraini cuisine, right? It's
when you were out there, when you were studying.
Sure, of course. Because the first thing you crave is a matchboos.
Right? Your food, your food, local food. Yeah.
Which just tastes so much better when you're abroad.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And when we would be abroad, before I went to college, whether we'd be in Spain or Sweden or whatever, my mom, my uncle would go down to the market, buy stuff, and make matchboos or some kind of Bahraini dish.
These are on vacations.
Summer vacations, And I'd be like, how did you make this? This is delicious.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So I had that in mind. Okay. It fed into my cultural understanding of food.
Okay.
Even then, I remember my grandmother would still, in the very classic Bahraini style, she would grind her spices. Yeah. She would be in the kitchen.
True.
There'd be trays of chilies and cardamom and drying on the roof of my grandma's house. So I remember those smells, like they were a big part of my childhood. And the flavors, of course, like without a doubt.
Okay.
So I had this understanding that things go from raw to complete, but you have to source them first.
Okay.
So this kind of fed into my psyche, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you were in England and you were, so you're back. You went to Ernst & Young.
Exactly.
But you were working during the day.
I was.
Where did the cooking come in? Did it on the weekends and the evenings when you would go home?
See, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm the type of person when a certain creative drive hits.
Yeah.
Whatever time of day.
Okay.
I will go. I have to make it. It's like an itch.
Okay.
That I have to make this now.
So what if it hit and you were at the office?
Work? Well, I'd literally sit there, finish my work, and then write down an idea for a recipe or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be odd if I walked into the kitchenette and started
cooking. Exactly.
Yeah,
I was
Sophie, guys. No. Probably would have been fired too.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Yeah.
So you decided to leave.
I did.
What happened next?
So I remember before leaving, I decided to do a stint at a interior design agency, but that specialized in events. So I wanted to...
okay.
So I wanted to, and these were like large scale events. Yeah. So it'd be a lot of sourcing from all around the world, whether it's contacting Italy, Spain, China, get an artist from here, a piece of cloth from there. So that appealed to me, the kind of cultural exchange. As I mentioned in the beginning, it's something I've always been interested in. Cultural exchange, travel, and things that are handmade.
Okay.
So it fit the bill perfectly.
Okay.
And it gave me the sort of drive to quit. Right, so I actually took unpaid leave in the last 4 months of being at Ernst & Young.
Okay.
And did that. By the end, I was like, I'm done. I think I know what I want to do now.
Okay.
And I know that it involves making things, and I want to go for it. Everybody was afraid, except me for some reason. It's not like I had a giant amount of savings that I had put by, nor did I want to rely on anyone else.
It's true.
I took the leap.
Okay.
For 2 months, I had no work. I sat at home, doodling. I have a little notebook I carry with me. I collect notebooks, and I write ideas, recipes, thoughts, journal, whatever.
Okay. So, but I thought in that 4 months, you went to that
design agency. Right.
So didn't you work there with them?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
After that, I quit.
You quit. Okay.
I quit Ernst & Young.
Yeah.
This was on a project basis where I was working with the design firm.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, the project basis.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's like I held 2 jobs at the same time.
Yeah.
And then after finishing up those projects with the design agency, I left Ernst & Young, and I had 2 months of just sitting at home, and I went nuts. It was crazy. I don't like not doing anything.
Oh, crazy in that sense. And that you didn't have anything to do.
Very restless.
Okay.
Right? I had so many ideas, and I wanted to implement these things and all that. the opportunity arose at the National Museum to basically take over the running of the cafe that was, existent over there. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm in, right? Okay. Having no kitchen operation experience.
Okay.
Having no experience running an industrial style kitchen.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, inside, I was dying. I was afraid. Mm-hmm. And I would hide it very well.
Oh, yeah.
And there are times when
we're good at that.
I think so.
We risk takers are good at that.
I think so.
Yeah.
And at times you feel, in the beginning, I felt this odd sense, like an imposter type syndrome a lot.
Yeah.
It wasn't that
what if they figure me out?
Exactly. It took a lot of, and the only way to get through that is you have to do a lot of self-work.
Yeah.
Because you are your first cheerleader. Yeah. You are the one pushing yourself forward. Right. Nobody's going to do that for you. They can try, but if you're constantly like breaking yourself down on the inside, there's nothing to prop up really.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that, a lot of reading, a lot of talking. I have very good friends from...
So you took over the coffee shop. Okay.
I did. And I was working with a team of cooks, and I had to earn their respect. Mm-hmm. The boss,
who were already there.
there. Okay. They have had kitchen experience. But then when push came to shove and we had to cook, I found that I could outcook all of them.
Yeah.
Not to blow my own horn, but it was what
that's what I
noticed.
The passion was. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And slowly but surely, I started feeling strong in that position. Mm-hmm. Started to make things. The creativity started to show up now. I started to mold the place to what I had in terms of my vision for what I think would be appropriate for a cultural space. Because it is at the Bahrain National Museum, right? And then I remember Sheikh Hamay bint Muhammad, basically the head of the organization, the Bahrain Authority for Culture and Antiquities, gave me free reign to do whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
That's very
the best,
rare.
That's the best thing for creativity, because you have to have freedom.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can't be constrained.
I hate constraint, anything.
Yeah.
I feel like it stops any creative flow or output. You need to be in a very particular mindset to start to manifest creative, whatever.
Okay. The foods that you were serving there.
Right.
Bahraini? Fusion.
Well, I don't like that word.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why.
Yeah. Tell us.
And I'm not sure how I can link this, but myself and Chef Lulu Aswailah at the moment are working on the expo.
Yeah.
We were very adamant on not creating a fusion menu.
Okay.
It was Bahraini food utilizing modern techniques.
Okay.
Right? That's the idea.
Okay.
Fusion for me is when you bring in when you bring in a machboos and you add, sushi to it or something.
Right, yeah, okay,
right?
Okay, yeah.
It could work.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But it's not my thing.
It's merging two cultures.
Exactly.
It's fusion.
Exactly.
But this one, no. It is still the same dish.
Yeah.
But you're using new techniques on how to do it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So on the menu, we have dishes from the Levant. We have dishes from Persia. Persian food is one of my favorites. And I know that you are an amazing Persian cook.
Well, I try.
You try and you're succeeding.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, when you are brought up, as you know, when you are brought up with the culture, anything that goes wrong in there, you will smell it and you will taste it.
Absolutely.
Because you're brought up with that.
Exactly.
Okay. And no matter how you want to get it across to other people who don't know how to do that dish, they will not get it because they were not brought up with the memory.
Exactly.
The memories are not, because the minute you put the taste in your mouth, it flashes back.
Absolutely.
And you say, that's the taste.
Absolutely true. It's one of the things when you're in the kitchen, and if I'm trying to, as a food developer, I would say, if I'm trying to work on a dish from a particular region, first thing I do, I have to contact somebody from there or somebody in my vicinity, have them cook a demo.
Right.
Be there with them.
Yes.
Experience it.
Yeah.
Build that kind of cultural understanding. Yeah. and then I implement.
Yeah. That's and I'll bring in a little bit of the knowledge sharing thing in there.
Sure.
That's the tacit knowledge that we have.
Right.
It's the one that is deep
Right.
inside. Which you don't know about.
Right.
It's there.
Like an instinctual thing.
It's tacit.
Right.
There is explicit knowledge, which is written, all the documents, everything.
Things
that's
that
explicit.
Have like output.
It's explicit. It's written. It's there. Everybody can read it.
Right.
And you have implicit knowledge, which is the knowledge that is not out there, but you can write it down very easily.
Right.
And then you have the tacit knowledge, which comes with experience, with a lot of wisdom, with that, which is deep, deep down inside. And no matter how you want to get it across, it goes a little bit, but there's still something that is yours that you cannot get across. And this comes in cooking.
Absolutely.
This is one of the areas. It's like carpentry, skills.
Artisanal. Yes. I understand.
Music, art.
Yeah.
There is something that you have in your tacit knowledge that you cannot get it across, and it's unique to you.
I absolutely agree. I mean, that's a new term for me to learn. So thank you for educating me, to be honest. I'm so taking that and using it.
Yeah, you can use it. You can use it. It's not mine.
Fair.
It's not mine. I also...
But it's nice to have a name for it.
Yeah, it's tacit. Yeah, it's tacit knowledge. Especially we'll go back again to the cooking, the Persian cooking. You know how in the Iranian kitchen, the rice, and not the rice, the crispy rice, the tadig, that is a very, very Persian thing.
Exactly. And very technical.
And very technical. Now, the thing is, we know how to do it like it's like...
It's instinct.
What do you mean? It's hard. No, it's not. It's very easy.
Yeah.
You just do it.
You just do it.
And then I do it in front of my friends and I show them. They go home and then they call, it didn't turn out the same. It's not as crispy as yours. There are things that you have learned from your grandma and that you apply to it, that you forget to tell them.
Yes.
And then they say, oh, okay, I didn't tell you that part. And
it's up to them as observers to kind of figure that out.
Yeah.
Because you're not there thinking, I'm doing this thing that might...
Yeah. So anyway... let's go back. Let's go to our. Now you are passionate about our foods, the Bahraini, the region.
Exactly.
The region. I remember I went to a creativity work week in Bangkok.
Nice.
And one of the places we went to was one of those Michelin star, very Thai food thing.
Right.
And she, Polan, I think her name is.
Is she the famous Pad Thai?
Yes.
Yeah. I've been to her place.
Yeah. But what happened was we had a workshop with her, and she came in, and
she wears the goggles.
Yeah. And she explained how she started her restaurant and all that. She goes into details of Thai culture, food, even the flowers, she goes and finds them in the not suburbs, like in the countryside, in the villages, and all that, and brings them and takes them to her restaurants and all that, because she wants that culture to be in there. And of course she brings it out as you said, in a technical new way of looking wise, but the food is the same, the taste is the same, all that. Tell me about you. What do you do for our food?
Well, I think there are certain people, we in Bahrain, there are so many people who do this, and again, it's instinctual.
Okay.
But when you want to make the perfect machbous, for example. It's one of the dishes we've put on the menu at the expo, right? It's the World Expo. We're going to be showcasing this dish. Yeah. What does that mean?
I mean, machbous.
But I mean, it's a lamb dish, right?
Okay.
So I have to source.
Oh, so you're making the lamb.
We're making the lamb, but I need to go find the perfect lamb. Less than a year old, not more than 3 teeth in the front. I need to find lamb fat, good quality, and then render it, and then spice it. Make we call it dihin khanin, right? So it's a fragrant oil, basically, from rendered lamb fat. So you need that perfect cut. And then you need to find the perfect rice, right? Okay. Basmati, sure.
Yeah.
Which region? Yeah. How old? How long the grain, right?
Oh my God. And we just eat machbous and we say this is machbous.
Yeah. See, there's certain things that go into it that you might think are so unimportant. Yeah. But like that chef in Thailand, she sources that perfect flour because it'll add something in the end.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. And there's a process of such craftsmanship in creating such a simple dish that is so satisfying, especially when people eat it and there's this look on their eyes. Just like, it just opens just a little bit and they're excited.
Yeah.
Because technically, the culinary world is purely about service. It's about giving.
Right.
It's the beautiful plates of food, the beautiful restaurant. These are just the supplements to the process. But at the end of the day,
it's the food.
It's the food. It's you and the experience in the place with your friends, having a laugh, forming a memory around that plate of food. So that's what it's really about.
What's your dream? What would you like? First of all, before we get to that.
Sure.
Did you go to a culinary school?
I did not.
All of this is out of passion?
Yes. And
wow.
I said that in the beginning, I like to know how things work.
Yeah.
It can't just be just cooking.
Yeah.
No, it's why this protein, where's it from? Why do they treat it this particular way?
Yeah.
What makes the difference in terms of seasons?
Who do you go to for this? I mean, your grandma, Allah yarhamha, was one.
Well, I kind of moved a little upwards from there.
Exactly.
So it's...
So where do we have people that, or you... Okay, you tell me.
I'll tell you, because it's exciting.
Yes.
So you mentioned this term knowledge sharing, right?
Yes.
Effectively, the chef community in Bahrain is also quite diverse. So we have chefs from South Africa, we have chefs from Italy, we have chefs from, all over the world. Mm-hmm. When we travel, we have an opportunity. Like if you want to go to a mall, you go to a mall. You want to go to a dance show. But if you want to go to a restaurant and talk to the chef over there and learn from them, you can do that. You can do something called a stage where you work in another chef's restaurant for, a short period of time and learn from them.
Okay.
I had the privilege, for example, of, we were going to do this prior to the pandemic. A soul food scholar from the United States who won the James Beard Award. I'm sorry, man, I forget your name. I'm very bad with names. But please link him in the bio of this episode. But he was we started a dialogue that the U.S. Embassy in Bahrain and the Cultural Authority put us together for about African food born out of the slave movements in the United States. So I'm learning from a food anthropologist now. A person who wrote books on the subject. So I'm able to understand why they use particular ingredients, why they chose particular seasons. What are they expressing in their cuisine? Because at times their cuisine was a form of a fight,
Yes.
At times it was an amalgam. One of the chefs, if I'm not mistaken, who was a black chef at the White House, was a slave, was taken to France. Right, where he learned culinary techniques, came back and invented the mac and cheese. Right?
No way.
Yeah, I mean, like, what? Really?
Right. Yeah.
You just have a new appreciation, and some of his recipes still exist.
Okay.
And so I was privileged enough to have.
So you just contact these people, and they.
Sometimes I do. I like you. I would send you an email or a message.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in your work. If you have time to educate me about it, please do. And they do. People are very willing to teach you. Yeah, just ask.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I did have a chip on my shoulder in the beginning because I didn't go to culinary school. So in the beginning of my journey, I felt like I had a lot to prove.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, we live in a world of degrees, unfortunately, which are necessary in some fields, undeniably.
Yeah.
PhDs are necessary because they give you access to research.
Research, yeah.
And that's where you get...
PhD is research. That's it.
Exactly.
That's it, yeah.
I wish we could all just jump to the PhD part because this is really fun.
Yeah.
So
it's not really that fun.
It's a lot. I know it's a lot
not
of grinding.
That fun. Okay.
I can tell.
I mean, it's fun when you're researching for yourself.
Yeah.
But when you're researching to do a research and put it out there as a unique research,
I know.
Not fun. Okay.
Literally creating a new branch, like stream of consciousness, new knowledge. Yeah. I get it.
Okay. So you called this guy over there in the States, and you want before the pandemic, and you wanted to.
In fairness, this particular relationship was fostered by the U.S. Embassy in Bahrain and the Cultural Authority. Okay. Another such situation that I was again privileged to experience is Chef Margarita Carrillo, who is a Mexican chef.
Oh yeah, I saw her. I came.
I think you did.
Yes.
So. Working with her was an immense privilege. She hails from Oaxaca in Mexico. Yeah. She wrote a compendium, like a huge book. Yeah. And we cooked for a couple of days together. So all those tricks, those like tacit knowledge, is that correct?
Tacit
that you would
knowledge.
Have learned
TACIT. Exactly. Tacit knowledge, yeah.
Which implies there is no energy exerted, it's just almost absorbed.
Yes.
Yeah. I think I experienced a lot of that working with her and her sous chef, who was phenomenal. They were so giving. Yeah. And it's very inspiring when you work with people who just want to give. Yeah. You know, they want nothing in return. Yeah. They're just happy to share their culture. Yeah. You become a caretaker. Right. So you need to implement it now and showcase it to the best of your ability based on how you've learned it from the source. Okay. Right. And then you file it in your brain. Yeah. And then you can use it so I remember we made a mole. It takes a couple of days to make a mole. You grind everything from scratch, you blend, and then you cook it for 8, 9, 10, 12 hours. She made one, and I made one. And I like how she said, I like yours better. I was like, thank you. You just taught me how to make it. I just put my little spin on it. Not using ingredients that don't exist in a mole, just playing with proportion. Yes. Right? So...
That's the tacit knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
Putting something from yourself into it.
Absolutely.
Which is unique.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the signature of you on the dish. Or on the thing.
Yeah. So tell me now. Yeah. What's your dream? What's next for Bassam?
Well, again, I've had the honor of getting an opportunity myself and Lulu Aswaila to work on the expo. I've been to one expo before, the one in Shanghai, and it blew my mind. Okay. It was, I touched the mic, so sorry about that. It's okay. It blew my mind because, one, China population. Oh, yeah. Huge. So the scale of everything, I felt like tiny. But one thing I loved was, again, the cultural exchange, because every pavilion showcases a country and usually has cuisine. Yeah. It's so funny that going to Shanghai, for example, and I will get back to your question. Okay. But going to Shanghai, my favorite thing about the Shanghai Expo was the Pacific Islands pavilions. Okay. So Samoa, Tahiti, Tonga. Okay. Their food, the people. It's so odd being in China, walking into a pavilion and suddenly feeling like you're on an island in the Pacific. Yeah. Having somebody being tattooed with whalebone on the side, having food, having dancers from Tahiti, shaking their feathers on the side. Yeah. So to tie that into the expo this year, that's why I think it's a privilege. And we've been tasked with basically developing a full menu showcasing Bahraini cuisine, basically. Nice. So that's what's in the immediate pipeline. Yeah. Including running my fragrance studio, which I love to do.
We didn't even get to that.
No, we didn't. Yeah. Episode 2.
I think that's, episode 2. Really. Exactly. That needs another episode. Exactly. But as far as food goes, yes. What is your dream? What do you see yourself in 10 years, 20 years?
I'd love to have a chain of restaurants, not a chain of restaurants in the way that people think. Yeah. A full-blown, 6-page menu and all that. Yeah. places that specialize in 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 things.
Okay.
But we do them really well.
Yeah.
Perhaps around the GCC and maybe abroad. I would love to go to Germany. My business partner is from the Philippines. I would love to have a restaurant in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, why not?
For Bahraini food.
For Bahraini food, right? So, and we have a lot of ambassadors for Bahraini food on the island, but again, we each do it our own way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't take away from it. It just adds to this diverse woven fabric of Bahraini cuisine. So that's what I want. It's a very simple dream, really. So, yeah.
Yeah, I can see
you. Did I answer that question properly?
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad.
I can see you in that restaurant.
Thank you. Yeah. Me too.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Bassam, for coming in.
Thank you for having me and listening to me rant and rant.
No, I loved it. I've never heard it this way before.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Thank you
for having me. I've enjoyed being here.
Thank you.
Cheers.